What if I told you the galaxy's greatest player started as a prospect from the Outer Rim? That the Chosen One didn't just live up to the hype, he surpassed it. That even the greatest players need a helping hand. What if I told you the galaxy's greatest dynasty began with a massacre? That the height of his career would also plant the seeds of his downfall. What if I told you the galaxy's brightest star burned out in a single night? That the man no one could stop tragically was. Anakin Skywalker, the chosen one of youngling domination. Before he was racking up all-time numbers, he was just a raw prospect out of Tatooine, a late draft pick, discovered in the Outer Rim, trained under Obi-Wan Kenobi, and hyped up by the front office as the chosen one, destined to bring balance to the Force. He had all of the intangibles: size, speed, power, sneaky athleticism, but also the attitude, the chip on his shoulder that separated him from the rest of the draft class. Like nearly all the greats, his magnum opus would not come until later in his career. Nearly a youngling himself, his first all-time performance came during the Tusken Raider incident. Fresh off the bench from Tatooine, raw but brimming with potential, he found himself in a hostile environment, no coaching staff, no teammates, and an arena full of sand people, which he is cited to hate. And while the exact numbers remain lost to history, in his own words, no children left that encampment alive. Critics of his day brought up the circumstances, a personal loss, a high-emotion moment, questionable ethics at best, and sure, it was not on the grand stage of the Jedi Temple, but that's what makes this his rookie breakout game. He didn't just dominate the stat sheet that day, he revealed the ruthless edge, the killer instinct that would one day define his legacy. The Tusken incident may not be the polished masterpiece analysts point to when ranking his all-time highlights, but it was a clear beginning of great things for the Chosen One. Of course, no career is defined by one night alone. Between his rookie flashes and the Temple masterpiece, Anakin carved out a prime that rivals anyone in this game. Throughout the Clone Wars, Anakin dominated the stat sheet night in and night out. Heroics on Christophsis, pure efficiency on Umbara, and an absurd display of power on Mortis. He was putting up triple doubles in chaos, destruction, and most importantly, charisma. And while Obi-Wan was the steady vet, and Ahsoka the rising star, Anakin was always the centerpiece, the franchise cornerstone. He wasn't just racking up numbers, he was carrying the Republic, saving his teammates, carrying squads out of impossible situations, and building the chemistry with the 501st that would later define his greatest performance. If the Jedi Temple Purge was his Jordan 96 finals run, then the Clone Wars were his entire regular season MVP stretch. The Jedi Temple Massacre is what many analysts consider the single greatest performance the galaxy has ever seen. Wilt Chamberlain numbers, Jordan levels of dominance, and he did it with a unique flair and power that nobody had seen before. Of course, questions still remain about the help he had from the clones. They executed Order 66 with Popovich levels of precision, and some would argue that this takes away from his true legacy. But let's be honest, even Jordan needed Pippin. The 501st may have been an elite supporting cast, but Anakin was the centerpiece, the star, and the closer. And there is something to be said about Anakin always sticking with the 501st, which is something that can't be said for other superstars in the coming eras. He never took his talents to the 212th Attack Battalion and had no interest in forming a super team. He was a company man, always loyal to the front office that saw his true potential, even as a rookie, first making his name in the league. And Anakin reciprocated that loyalty, which is something analysts need to mention when discussing the Chosen One's near-perfect legacy. Still, his career isn't without blemish, and even on a nearly perfect night, he still has one stain on his record: his failure to finish Reva, the lone missed free throw in an otherwise flawless game. Of course, every great career has its lowest moment, and for Anakin, it came right after the greatest game of his life. Fresh off his temple masterpiece, he bought into his own hype. Anakin walked into Mustafar with all the momentum in the galaxy. This was supposed to be an easy win, the closeout game, the night he put the dynasty beyond doubt. But instead, clouded by anger and overconfidence, he choked. He forced reads, ignored the fundamentals, and let the moment slip away. What should have been a capstone to his peak became a collapse. And it was here that he suffered a horrific injury which changed his career forever. After this, the raw yet sneaky athleticism was gone. The explosiveness, the flair, and the sheer power he once used to dominate, it was all stripped away. His movement more mechanical, yet his reads became better, and his timing and efficiency unmatched. Rogue One alone proved it. Even without the high-flying athleticism of his temple days, he could dismantle an entire squad with nothing but positioning, discipline, and calculated dominance. It wasn't the same Anakin Skywalker, but one thing was clear: it was still greatness. But when you look at the numbers, the dominance, and the legacy, there is no debate. Anakin Skywalker is the greatest to ever do it. He may never have matched that Jedi Temple peak again, but his sustained greatness over more than 20 years is something many commentators, myself included, doubt the league will ever see again. And even as Darth Vader, he still put up absurd numbers night after night. We're talking Jordan numbers with LeBron longevity. Anakin Skywalker is the GOAT, no doubt.